Hey, Charlene family. I hope you guys are doing good. Welcome again to another weekly live. I hope the week's been treating you guys pretty good. As you guys know, over the last couple months, we've been doing a lot of education on home health and hospice care. But today we have a special guest that's going to be walking through Parkinson's since April is Parkinson's Awareness Month. We wanted to talk through because a lot of families have questions about Parkinson's that they're not understanding what this new diagnosis is, how it affects my loved one, what it entails. And so today we're going to walk through what is Parkinson's and also hear from our special guest and her story regarding Parkinson's and her association and how she helps the community with Parkinson's and Parkinson's awareness. So let's get right into it. As you guys know, this is Parkinson's Awareness Month, and there's some stats that are kind of really important that a lot of families don't actually realize because it feels like when you have Parkinson's or a loved one has Parkinson's, like you're the only one that has it. Over 10 million people actually worldwide have Parkinson's. And you guys remember these familiar faces. Back to the Future, of course, Michael J. Fox and Marty McFly, and of course, Osborne, Mr. Osborne, and all of these celebrities, that this is just to name a few, a lot of them have Parkinson's and are dealing with so many difficult things. And when you have it, you feel like you may be alone. You may not have that support. So today we're going to help guide you through what is Parkinson's and educate you specifically on what it is and the resources that are very available to you and your family. So today we have a special guest, Miss Leisha Phipps, and Miss Leisha Phipps is a executive director for DAPS. And so we're actually going to bring her on. She's backstage, and so we're going to bring her on. And we're going to walk through her story, and we're looking forward to having her. So let's see if we can pull her in here. Hey, how's it going?
Hello, I'm great. Thanks so
Good,
much for
good.
having me.
It's an honor. It's an honor. How's your day going so far?
Day is good. So far, relatively dry. So
Yeah.
so we'll take that and hail free for the moment.
Yeah, awesome, awesome. Well, Leisha, it's a privilege to have you here. And we were talking a couple weeks ago about DAPS and the impact that DAPS has specifically on Dallas when it comes to Parkinson's and just Parkinson's awareness. And so we were talking and we're like, oh, why don't we do a podcast? Why don't we chat a little bit about what Parkinson's is and how it affects families, but also the awareness that you guys do so well when it comes to DAPS.
Mhm.
So if you don't mind, just share your story briefly about how you got involved with DAPS and what is DAPS.
Yeah, sure.
Mhm,
So, I'm a social worker,
mhm,
just by education. And so most of my work had been in clinical settings, working one-on-one with people who had experienced traumas. And so I'd spent about 20 years in a variety of roles in nonprofits. And about 7 years ago, I was ready to move into a different role.
mhm,
And when DAPS came up, Dallas Area Parkinson Society, I had never heard of it,
mhm,
which seemed a little bit strange because a longtime native of this area, my dad also has lived
mhm,
here his entire life. And at that point in time, he had had Parkinson's for about 10 years.
mhm,
And so that neither one of us had heard about DAPS really resonated for me as, wow, this is
mhm.
a pretty important resource that we aren't even aware of.
Wow.
And so fortunately, I started as the program director back in 2019, right before the pandemic. And so I got a real feel for all the great work that DAPS was providing throughout North Texas. And then, of course, post-pandemic, we had to do a lot of revamping
Mhm,
and kind of just restructuring how we were going to better meet the needs of people with Parkinson's and their family and loved ones.
mhm.
So it's been an exciting journey, and we've had some tremendous growth. So yeah, I'm excited to share more about the
Yeah.
great resources that we provide the community all at no cost.
And it's amazing, like you said, that 10 years and then not knowing that this resource is out there, for you and for your dad. I think that's huge. And so let's say I have no idea what Parkinson's is. Like,
Mhm.
what is Parkinson's? Let's say like my
Mhm.
dad gets diagnosed with Parkinson's and then
Mhm.
maybe the doctor didn't have enough time to explain it to me because I wasn't there. Like, explain to me
Mhm.
what is Parkinson's.
Sure. So Parkinson's is a neurological condition. It is chronic, meaning there is
Mm,
not a cure yet. There will be one day,
mhm,
but it means that it's chronic and it is progressive. Now,
mm,
how it progresses, it differs from person to person. So it is not doesn't look the same
mm,
for everyone, but it is considered the fastest growing neurological disorder.
mm,
So that's pretty alarming, but it's really important for people to recognize that because with Parkinson's, it oftentimes takes sometimes several years for someone to accurately be diagnosed with the
mm,
condition. And so what it is it is when the neurons that are creating the dopamine in our brains, some of those start to die.
mm,
And when those die and dopamine is not being produced, then people are left with symptoms. Unfortunately, when it comes to Parkinson's, sometimes those symptoms aren't even noticeable or recognizable until much later, until years after the symptoms begin to progress a little bit and those symptoms become more unmanageable or just more difficult. And that's when people
mm,
oftentimes will go and actually seek some care and a diagnosis.
mm. How do people, like, let's say I don't have no idea what Parkinson's is, but how do people actually, who diagnoses for Parkinson's? What's the specialty?
So that's a really important question because it's actually there are neurologists who have specialty training and they are called movement disorder specialists. And if
Mm,
you live in the Dallas area, it's a pretty good place to live if you've got Parkinson's because those are the specialists that we really encourage and refer folks to so that they can get that specialized care. The statistics show that about a third of the people with Parkinson's are getting care from their primary care physician,
mm,
another third from a general neurologist, and then the other third from a movement disorder specialist.
wow.
So we always make sure that people understand that it's so important to make sure they get that referral so they can go see a movement disorder specialist. Those are the folks that are one going to be the most up to date on all of the treatments that are available and all of the approaches to live healthy with the disease. So those are the best physicians for folks to really see, so they can get the best diagnosis and the best treatment.
Mhm. Now you mentioned about your personal story, which was amazing to hear regarding your dad. Walk us through that aspect of understanding Parkinson's disease from your perspective, and how what are things that you kind of maybe wish you would have known when you first like heard those diagnoses?
Yeah, I think I was probably like a lot of people, didn't know anything about it. My grandfather, my dad's father, had ALS.
Mm,
And so honestly, we kind of looked at it like, oh, well, at least it's not ALS, and kind of brushed it off.
mm,
And because we knew how serious that
right.
particular disease was. And so honestly, for about the first 10 years, we really were not that actively involved in his treatment. And so for me coming to DAPS, I felt like it literally opened up a window to see that, oh, there's so much more available to help
Mm,
live even better with this disease because it's so much more than just taking medication. Obviously, that's critical. But when you really understand Parkinson's and that it's so much more than just motor symptoms, it really helps to validate the importance of a place like DAPS, who provides all of these comprehensive services like specialized exercise
mm,
classes and educational programs, support groups, speech classes. We have a non-contact boxing class.
mm,
We really provide a lot of comprehensive services so that wherever people are in the disease, whether they're early on or whether it's progressing and it's more advanced, we really have something for everyone, including their care partners and families.
wow, wow. So how does someone get, I guess, involved in DAPS? Or let's say we talked about, a newly diagnosed loved one that
Mhm.
has Parkinson's. Where do they start with that journey?
So, oftentimes, our medical advisory board consists of the movement disorder specialist, most of those that are in the area, and
Okay.
other specialists who have expert training when it comes to Parkinson's. So, that might be physical therapist, occupational
Mhm.
therapist, speech therapist, etc. So, oftentimes, when folks are getting a diagnosis and they're going to get treatment, oftentimes our medical advisory board are the first folks to let people know
Mm,
contact DAPS.
mm,
So that's oftentimes when people call us initially. If people have been diagnosed by their primary care physician or their general neurologist and contact us, then we let them know about the resources that we have available in their areas,
yeah.
because we do go into the communities in hopes that we can just make our services more accessible, more easily available to people and their loved ones. So whether they
Mm,
live in Dallas County, County, or even Denton County, we are offering something on a regular basis for all of those residents.
that's cool. You mentioned something that was kickboxing class. I need to know about that. What does that entail?
So, our non contact boxing
Yeah.
class. So, there have actually been quite a few clinical studies that are showing the benefits of people with Parkinson's participating in a regular non contact boxing class.
Mm,
So, we are very, very fortunate because one of our medical advisory board members is a physical therapist who was trained through UT Southwest and
nice.
is actually has some studies, some clinically backed studies through UT Southwest on his particular non contact boxing program. And so he, over about a year ago, Dr. Mike Brach
Mm,
came and trained all of our exercise instructors
wow.
through his program. And so now all of our exercise instructors have been trained in this particular program. And so now we are providing once a week a
Mm,
non contact boxing program at one of our Dallas locations.
that is neat. That's amazing. Is it are you guys seeing like from an outcome standpoint or how like patients or people with Parkinson's are they improving with these things or what are you guys seeing overall?
Yeah, so we haven't done any specific studies,
Hmm.
but some of our general surveys really are showing a couple of different things from people. I actually was just looking at those before we got
Yeah,
on our call, and folks are telling us through our recent surveys last month that just by participating in one of our services, whether it's non-contact boxing or dance or exercise, that they are noticing a significant improvement in their general life.
mm,
So we know that when it comes to Parkinson's, sometimes the motor symptoms are not as difficult to manage as some
right.
of the non motor symptoms, like anxiety that might pop up, or even loneliness. Apathy is another trait that a lot of people with Parkinson's experience, that lack of motivation, that lack of desire to execute some of their basic daily tasks. And so we're finding that our services are helping with that general sense of well being, which we
Mm,
know is so, so critical for people living with a chronic disease like Parkinson's.
mm. It's that quality of life. And I think a lot of times when you hear the diagnosis or the diagnosis becomes your identity, but not realizing that that's just a part of who you are. And I think I love hearing that. It's really about connecting those. I'm sure that you guys see it all the time is that you have one person who just got into the DAPS and then now they're reaching out and they have 20 friends that are all going through the same thing. Can you walk us through that? And I'm sure you have some great stories as well.
I do. My one of our favorite stories, and this can be seen on our website at daps.org, is a man named Barron.
Hmm,
Barron is a gentleman who was diagnosed with Parkinson's in 2017, and he also just happens to be a really brilliant artist.
hmm,
And so last year we partnered with Edgemere Senior Living to
mhm.
host the inaugural Dallas annual walk for Parkinson's. And of course, with this walk came a t-shirt. So
Nice.
Barron came to us and said, I'd be happy to create a piece of art that could go on your t-shirts.
Wow.
And he sent us several varieties, and we said, well, April is Parkinson's Awareness Month, and the symbol for Parkinson's disease, the international symbol, is the red tulip. And you'll
Hmm.
see I'm actually wearing my red tulip
Oh, nice.
necklace right now.
Mhm.
And so he actually created a piece of art for us, and that
What?
has now been on both our inaugural T-shirt from 2025 and our most recent 2026 walk that just happened a few weeks ago. So you can see Barron's work, and you can even have see a link to more of the work that he does, which is so inspirational.
Wow.
And it goes back to what you were saying, Charles, that uh, Parkinson's is just one part of him. It does not define him.
Yep.
And so for Barron, he has just represented such an important role model when it comes to, yeah, that's one part of you, but
Mhm.
you're also an amazing artist. You're
Mm.
also a wonderful father. And so we at DAPS really want to stress that people with Parkinson's are people with Parkinson's, but
Yep.
that's just one part of you.
Yep.
And so we take pride in offering communities that build on more than just a
Yeah.
diagnosis.
Yeah. You mentioned about the non-contact kickbox. I keep going back. It's kickboxing or boxing, right? I keep going back to
Mhm.
that. I don't know why. But what are some other activities that a lot of um, patients or people with Parkinson's have that you guys offer during through DAPS?
Sure. So the other one that's really popular is called Dance with PD, or Dance
Hmm.
for PD. And so this is also an internationally certified program. It was
Okay.
actually started in New York by professional dancers. And it has become so popular that it is internationally recognized. It is on most continents.
Wow.
And so we're really proud that we are able to offer Dance for PD, which is really nice because whether you are single or have a care partner with you or just a friend, we open up our classes to everyone. And
Hmm.
so it's been fun to see couples come, or again, just people that bring their friends and actually get to participate in our Dance for PD class. It is actually taught by a professional dancer.
Wow.
Domingo is a TCU graduate and frequently goes to New York to perform,
Wow.
but we're lucky to have him teach our Dance for PD class, which we just get rave reviews. And that it's more than just a sense of community. It is also an ability for people to express themselves in a
Mm.
way that they might not ordinarily do. So
Wow.
that's one of our other really popular programs that's offered.
It's almost like Dancing with the Stars, kind of, right? It's like
Exactly. Yes, yes, that's exactly it.
oh
Yes.
wow, that's cool. That's cool. Do you feel like I think that's neat to see because having that community, having that like just living life, right? I think a lot of we talked about earlier is the diagnosis doesn't define you.
Mhm.
It's just a part of you. And then understanding you can still enjoy life and still do the best you can with the diagnosis, depending on every aspect of that cycle. And so
Mm.
that's what are there any other like activities that you
Mhm.
guys do?
So we have lots of exercise classes all throughout North Texas. And so our exercise classes are again taught by our exercise instructors that I mentioned. They all have a certification in our non-contact boxing class, but also in a program called Move, Laugh, Connect.
Hmm.
And this is a class that was a program. It was created by two leading directors from the Cooper Aerobic Center,
Hmm.
the esteemed aerobic center that's based in Dallas. And so this couple came together after Charles Sterling had been
Hmm.
diagnosed with Parkinson's. And so Charles and his wife Susan came together and they created Move, Laugh, Connect because it incorporates not just the physical exercise, but also cognitive exercises and social exercises
Hmm.
so that we're addressing not just the physical aspects of balance and coordination, but also the importance of connection with other
Hmm.
people. And so those classes are also very, very popular. And those are a lot of those exercises are incorporated into really all of our classes. So that's a fun class that people really, really enjoy and can participate in any of our
Hmm.
locations.
Wow. If someone was considering like being a part of DAPS and they're kind of like, I don't know, like what would you tell them or
Mhm.
what would you say to them to help them understand the benefit of it and just in
Yeah.
general.
Yeah, I would tell folks first call us. Call us, reach out to us via email, whichever you're more comfortable with, so that we can really talk to you a little bit about the different types of services that we offer. For a lot of people that are new to DAP, they really like to go into one of our monthly educational programs.
Okay.
We provide a complimentary lunch, and we always provide an expert speaker in the field of Parkinson's.
Wow.
And that takes place 5 times every month in 5 locations in all 3 counties. And
Wow.
so sometimes that's a nice way for people to be able to meet other people that might be dealing with the disease or have been living with the disease, but also learn from some of these experts. Oftentimes, we bring in the movement disorder specialist, or like I mentioned, a physical therapist or a speech therapist. We brought in a nutritionist, and we
Mm,
brought in a counselors. We have really tried to, like I said, just create a really comprehensive approach to the disease so that no matter where people are, they can gain something from those experiences and
mm,
take home some resources and some tools that can help them manage the disease even better.
that's awesome. Is there like a cost for anyone to be a part of this? Or what does that look like for families?
No cost at all. We are a donation run nonprofit.
Uh,
We're a 501(c)(3), and we are running our annual campaign right now in our hopes to raise $40,000 by the end of May.
nice.
So we obviously will accept donations, but that is never required. We feel most importantly that it's for people to make sure they have access to our services.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah.
What are some statistics? I mean, we talked about like some data when it comes to Parkinson's in general. That families like,
Yeah.
there's some people that are like, "Ah, I'm still not sure about this. Give me some
Mhm.
information. Give me some data that can help me understand it. What's some things that you could kind of help that person understand?"
Yeah. So, Parkinson's, I think I mentioned it is the fastest growing neurological disorder. And a lot of people say, so what's causing it? Or,
Mm,
I had a relative that had it, or several relatives, so I'm probably going to get it. And what we've discovered is that actually it is less than 13% of the people with Parkinson's have a genetic connection.
hmm,
So that helps us understand that the connection is really based on environmental
mm,
issues. So environmental causes can be anything from pesticides that we might be exposed to. There have been a lot of reports out recently around golf courses, the
hmm,
pesticides that are used on golf courses. For those that might be exposed to those more so than others, they might have a higher risk, and the correlation between the disease and those exposed to some of those pesticides might
wow.
increase. So when it comes to statistics, I'm going to read off a couple of these
Mhm,
just to kind of give you an idea when it comes to locally. So when we're thinking about North Texas, we're looking at about 15,000 people
mm,
that have the disease. So
wow.
that is not including the care partners and the families that are oftentimes very intimately involved in that treatment
Right.
and helping someone live with the disease. So it's a lot of people just in our area. Some of the other stats, and this comes from Michael J. Fox
Mhm,
Foundation.
mhm,
So the federal government spends $25 billion every year to care for people with Parkinson's.
hmm,
Now, if you compare 25 billion to 234 million that is spent on researching the disease,
mm,
you see a pretty big disparity there.
right.
And so DAPS, like other large national organizations like Michael J. Fox Foundation or
Mm,
Parkinson's Foundation, Davis Phinney Foundation, we certainly all work together and collaborate so that we can make sure that we
mm,
really are advocating on both the federal and the state levels so that money and appropriations are designated towards research.
mm,
In November, Texas did pass a $3 billion research fund
right.
that will go towards all neurological conditions, including
Wow.
Parkinson's. So that is a wonderful step in the
Huge.
right direction
Wow. Yeah, that's
for
I f
sure.
and that's so important because I think as technology increases, like, there's so much information out there, and if we can
Mhm.
push towards that research, we can help a lot more people, you know?
You're exactly right, because it's a very complicated disease. And a lot of people will say, well, I have Parkinson's and I didn't have a concussion like Muhammad Ali, or
Yeah.
I wasn't exposed to pesticides. So there's still a lot of questions, there are a lot of unknowns. And so it requires a lot of research so that we can get to
Yeah.
the ultimate goal, which is to
Yeah.
find a cure.
Wow, yeah. So I'm gonna put you on the spot a little bit. So we weekly and monthly, what we've been doing is doing education and doing a real story, and then kind of
Mhm.
retelling it so that someone could put their themselves in that story's shoes or that family's shoes.
Mhm.
Is there
Mhm.
anyone that you can think of over the last couple years that like just kind
Mhm.
of, you don't have to say their name, or just kind of like a
Mhm.
situation that brings to mind and like, oh, this is a great story that you can highlight and kind of share with the viewers that are watching of what that situation was and how and what it all entailed. Anything you could think of.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of them, so
Yeah.
I'll just use a pseudonym,
Yeah.
and I'll call him John.
John.
Um, let's just go with John.
It's a good name.
So John came to DAPS a few years ago, and he came to us after his partner had been living with dementia,
Mm,
early onset dementia, and he was the primary care partner for his partner of many decades. And as you can imagine, it was a very, very devastating disease. And being the primary care partner, he saw the very beginnings of dementia to the very, very end.
mm,
Shortly after John's partner passed away, John was diagnosed with
mm,
Parkinson's. And John's story is so important because John took the bull by the horns and said, "I am not going to let this define me. I am not going to let it defeat me."
yeah.
And so he jumped right into DAPS and participates sometimes in several classes a day.
Wow.
That is not a joke. It not only is he attending boxing and dancing and exercise and educational programs, he also actively volunteers for us.
Mm,
He is at every single event. He is sharing how important DAPS is, that is a lifeline for him, and how it is keeping him connected, it is keeping him informed, and helping him to continue live well with the disease. He
wow.
has even brought his neighbor to some of our functions. And so to see that the power of one person, how their story and their message can really impact people around them, it is really, really powerful. So,
Wow.
so John's story is one of our favorites, and makes us laugh, and
Mm,
is just a force to be reckoned with.
that's awesome. Was he at the walk recently this last month?
Oh, yes, absolutely,
Nice.
yes.
Nice.
And we'll
Nice.
be at our next week's event, if I can give a
Yeah.
plug,
Please. Yeah.
another free event. So next Wednesday, we have an annual event, and it's called the Kenneth Cooper from Cooper Aerobic Center, the
Hmm.
Kenneth Cooper Lifetime Achievement Award and Luncheon.
Mm,
And this will be next Wednesday, May the 6th. It is at Highland Park Methodist Church. And each year we select someone who really represents a leadership component for those within the Parkinson's community.
mm,
And so this year's recipient is Dr. Maria De Leon. Now,
mm.
most people won't know who she is, and that name won't sound familiar, but her story is one that really resonates with people. So in 2008, Dr. Maria De Leon was practicing as a movement disorder specialist. And you'll recall I mentioned these
Yeah.
are the neurologists who have all of the extra training. These are the experts.
Yeah.
As Dr. De Leon is treating people, she herself was diagnosed with Parkinson's disease.
Mm,
So, almost 20 years later, she is now a fierce advocate when it comes to Parkinson's disease, specifically for women and the Hispanic community. She has several books that are offered and that are bestsellers.
wow.
She has one in English, one in Spanish. And so, she is our recipient for this year's 2026
Wow.
Lifetime Achievement Award. She will be coming in from East Texas, and and will be receiving the award. And so her perspective and her message is very, very unique. That is not someone that you meet very often.
Mm-mm.
So obviously she is brilliant and knowledgeable, but having lived with the disease for as long as she has really gives her a perspective that, like I said, just really resonates with people. So
Yeah,
we invite everyone and anyone to attend. Like I said, it is a lovely free lunch with an amazing speaker. It's a short event, but really special. And we find a lot of professionals come to this to just
that's cool.
also gain a better understanding of this disease and how it affects families.
Oh, that's beautiful. That's an amazing story. That's really
Yeah,
cool. Wow,
she is
imagine
remarkable.
how many people she's impacted and helped and guided through, even those that she's never met, through that whole process.
Yes. Yes.
Wow, that's so cool.
Absolutely.
That's so cool. As we're kind of coming wrapping up, what are some things that if you were to kind of walk someone through of, when someone just got diagnosed with Parkinson's, if you could have any encouraging words to them or something that you could kind of lift them up, especially with a disease like that.
Yeah, I'm glad you asked
Mm,
that. I think the most important thing is do not walk this journey alone.
mm,
Whether it's turning to us, to DAPS, we are absolutely there from the beginning, all the way through anyone's journey with Parkinson's, whether they're brand new or whether it's 10 or 20 years down the road. That's the most important thing. It can be very, very tempting to isolate,
mm,
to hide or minimize symptoms. That's a normal feeling, but it's not the best approach. Being assertive and really taking a lead in treatment and acknowledging and just learning about the
mm,
resources and understanding the disease better, that's really what gives people the confidence and the courage to be able to face the disease during all stages of it.
mm,
So knowing that you're not alone is just so, so critical. And some people want to just connect with us just online, or maybe
mhm.
it's through our virtual classes or through social media, and that is all perfectly fine. We're proud to say that we can really meet people wherever they are in the
Cool.
disease.
Wow, whether you want to be like John, going to like five activities a day, or someone coming in once a month, and just or going once a year to the walk,
You're
there's
exactly
so many
right.
places. Yeah, that is so cool. Oh man,
Yes.
that's awesome.
Yes.
That's awesome. I think we may have some questions. I know we usually do this every week, and so let me see if JT
Sure.
is here. Let's see if we have any questions in the background. If not, let's see. All right.
Hey, can y'all hear me okay?
Yay. Hey, JT.
Yeah.
Awesome. What's up? Thank you
Yeah.
so much for sharing your story, Miss Leisha. It's been cool to learn so much about your organization in such a short
Oh,
time.
Mm,
thank
Um,
you.
what do you from we do healthcare, of course, home health and hospice. From a
Mhm.
healthcare perspective,
Mhm.
what are some of the maybe best stories or highlights you see from either the doctors that your your patients and your people see and the support they've provided,
Mhm.
but also the nurses, the social
Mhm.
workers, the chaplains, everyone else that's in the healthcare industry in supporting your mission.
Yeah. So I think my response to you would actually kind of go in the direction of hospitalizations, or
mm,
maybe I should say communicating with your healthcare provider. And what I mean by that is because Parkinson's is so comprehensive, and there's so many symptoms that people don't automatically associate with the disease. Like I mentioned, there can be some pretty intense anxiety that goes along with
mm,
it. There can be some extreme constipation. Sleep is almost a 99% by people with Parkinson's a real problem that people experience. And so what I always tell people is whoever your clinician or your healthcare professional may be, advocate for yourself. Really learn to communicate well with those healthcare
mm.
professionals. We actually provide some tips on how to do that because
Nice.
it can be kind of overwhelming to go to your doctor, or if you're meeting with a social worker, to be like, gosh, I've got 10 symptoms. I don't even know where to begin. And so we really encourage people to reach out to us so that we can help provide them with those tools and they can really learn how to communicate well and advocate for themselves,
Mm,
because it can be a little bit defeating if people don't feel heard, or if professionals don't know what to look for. And so we take pride in knowing that we can really help equip people with those skills to better communicate and really make sure that their needs are met and that they're heard and really understood.
mm,
That's a great answer, and yeah,
mm,
I would piggyback off that. We've been doing this for Parkinson's for the last 3 weeks now, and so we've talked about several of our patients and how they've come to us either through the
Mhm.
hospital or through just a PCP visit. The doctor sees something, sees a need for something at home, but
Mhm.
there really are sometimes more things out there than people realize. Of course, your organization and all the amazing events and things, but also, physical therapy at home,
Mhm.
hospice care, when it's
Mhm.
not just at the very end of life, there's that it's designed to be there as a support for the whole family unit.
mhm.
And
Yes.
so,
Yeah.
yeah, I think the biggest thing is reaching out to, you know, all the, yeah,
Mm.
there's Charles got it right there
Mm,
for us.
yeah,
Excellent.
All
Oh,
yeah.
the
that is a
hospice
great
care.
pyramid.
Yeah, and that's what we see a lot is like I think DAPS is such a great organization because you guys come in and guide the family through every phase of life, right? And so when we see all the clinical side, we see the home health may be needed, the personal care may be
Mhm.
needed, palliative care, or at the end, hospice care, right? That's
Mhm.
the clinical side. But then there's the support emotionally that a lot of times doctors may not have the time for, even the nurses or the clinicians may not have the time for. And it's
Mhm.
amazing to hear that that's what DAPS does for families is just really wrap themselves around them and say, hey, we're here to help guide you through everything. Like, it may not be clinical, but it's a team working together to guide them through what's needed. And yeah, I think that's a great
Mhm.
question and great answer, Leisha.
Oh, well, thank you. Thank
Mm,
you. Yeah, I'm a big believer. Yeah, it takes a team approach to really maximize all the resources
mm,
and all the options that are out there. So I'm glad that to see that you guys do such a really nice job of helping people
mm,
to see here are some options, and let's help you identify where you might be in that
right,
pyramid. So
right, right,
that's excellent.
right. That's awesome.
Mhm.
Any other questions, JT, you got?
I think Miss Leisha covered
She
all of it.
answered everything. That
We'll
was great.
have we'll have more that, come as the month wraps up, and this video will go onto our channel permanently as well, so anyone can watch it back.
Wonderful.
So
Yeah, yeah,
we'll be sure to direct them back to you,
yeah.
Miss Leisha.
Yeah.
Oh,
How do people contact you or how do people get involved with DApps? What does that look like?
yeah, thank you for asking. We're really easy to reach on our website, daps.org, and you can sign up for our newsletters. That way, you'll get all the information about upcoming events and opportunities, including our weekly schedule with the exercise and the speech classes and our support groups. You can also follow us on all of our socials. We're very, very active on our socials. And so, yes, we would love for folks to connect with us anyway, but we're also available by phone. So if people
Mm,
prefer to call us, we're available at 972 620 7600.
perfect. Awesome. Awesome. Well, Miss Leisha, it was a pleasure having you on today, and thank you so much for the wealth of information and knowledge that we could take, and also families could take to understand what Parkinson's is and how DAPS is there to support them through this journey. And so, thank you for all you
Mhm.
do. I'm sure you feel like you're called to this, so it's not like a job, and and I think that's a lot of families need to hear that. And
Mhm.
in leadership, we appreciate you and what you do.
Mhm.
So.
Thank you. Thank you
Mm,
both so, so much. This was an
yeah.
absolute pleasure. I'm so, so thankful for the partnership and the ability
Mm.
to share more about Parkinson's.
Oh yeah, and we'll have you back soon, so it'll be great.
I would love it. Thank you both very,
Awesome.
very
All
much.
right.
Y'all are doing
Thank
great
you so
work.
much.
Good to have
All
you.
right.
See you.
Take care.
Yeah.
Awesome. That was beautiful. Well, we appreciate you guys. Thanks for hopping on. Again, we'll be back again next week talking about hospice 101 and education for families. It'll be a new topic. So we'll see you guys soon. God bless. See you guys next week.